woman eating alone at a restaurant meets someone, and the two become fast friends.
Sometimes when you meet new people, something clicks. In a very short hour, you think you're going to be friends for life.
Days before this meeting, a woman is murdered and has her identity stolen. The body is left in the bathroom of a condominium complex, with towels placed along the door.
This could be to contain the smell so the body won't be discovered too quickly.
An hour in a hot tub with a stranger might be more dangerous than she could have imagined. Some killers seek to disappear completely in the heinous crimes they commit. Calculated, plotting, full of intent, these murders drive a stake into the core of humanity, leaving many to glimpse into what makes someone a killer. Such are the actions of Lois Reese, a woman so sweet and unassuming in her appearance, she is forever branded as the killer grandma. A lady whose saccharine smile concealed her ulterior motives. This is the hour so critical to her case. It exposes her ability to gain closeness with her potential victims and uncovers why she may have killed in the first place. On April 15th, Bernadette Mathis goes out to a restaurant. Bernadette works as a court reporter at the Judicial District Court of Texas and goes by Bernie to her friends. She's treating herself to a dinner on this Sunday evening before the new work week starts up. However, she's not the only one who's out on the town in South Padre Island, Texas. Bernie starts her evening on her own, but she's soon approached by a like-minded woman who's also flying solo tonight. The two sit together, and this new woman introduces herself as La Donna.
The two women seem to hit it off immediately. They become fast friends and spend the meal trying to get to know each other. It turns out La Donna is in town from Minnesota.
La Donna says she recently lost her husband to a heart attack. She tells Bernadette that she had to get away because her family wasn't giving her enough space to grieve. As the dinner continues, they laugh over stories of life and love. The conversation is flowing, and so is the wine. South Padre Island is a town situated on a barrier island in Texas. It's a resort town, a relaxing vacation destination. For those looking to connect with nature, the Birding and Nature Center homes a 5-story watchtower to see migrating birds, and the Dolphin Research and Sea Life Nature Center offers boat tours. The town is incredibly small, taking up less than 4 square miles, and housing a population of just barely over 2,000 people.
In such a small town, you would think that you'd have that feeling that you know all of your neighbors. But since it's also a resort town, there's that feeling that you just don't know everyone who's coming and going.
During their meal, LaDonna talks about looking for a new place to live, and Bernadette suggests her neighborhood.
The bartender at the restaurant notices that Bernadette seems a bit out of it. She's only had 1, maybe 2 drinks, but she's acting like she's had a lot more.
Near the end of the meal, Bernadette takes care of the bill, completely smitten by her newfound friend. After they finish eating, Bernadette invites LaDonna to her home so that she can get to know the area and relax in her hot tub.
About 6 days prior to Bernadette and LaDonna arriving to relax at Bernadette's condo, a Fort Myers condominium manager is dealing with a number of suites having their water shut down.
Fort Myers sits across the Gulf of Mexico from South Padre Island. Fort Myers has similarly beautiful weather, leading to a lot of people who live in colder climates spending their winters here. While Fort Myers is much larger than South Padre Island, they have a lot in common in terms of the sort of activities that people on vacation can take advantage of. It has a gorgeous 7-mile stretch of white sand beach, giving plenty of access to water activities like parasailing and kayaking.
Like a lot of Florida beach towns, Fort Myers is a popular spring break destination. From the beach to the nightlife, there's plenty to bring in people who are looking for some fun.
Bernadette and LaDonna arrive at Bernadette's condo soon after dinner.
Sometimes when you meet new people, something clicks. In a very short hour, you think you're going to be friends for life.
It's brought up that they could spend some time in the hot tub. Luckily, LaDonna has just purchased a bathing suit that day and has it in her bag. Back in Fort Myers Beach, the condominium manager makes her way through the various condos to check the water. Eventually reaching the condo being rented by Pamela Hutchinson. When she enters, she's hit by a wave of terrible odor. She finds a towel blocking the bottom of the door to the bathroom. She moves the towel and goes inside. Immediately after entering the room, she exits the suite and takes out her phone.
And what is your emergency? This is Lori Russell at Marina Village, Snug Harbor down at Fort Myers Beach, and there's a dead body in one of the units. Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
When investigators arrive on the scene, they find Pamela Hutchinson's body covered up by a towel on the bathroom floor.
When they uncover the body, they find that she has sustained 2 bullet wounds, one in her left flank and one in the right side of her chest. After autopsy, it's determined that the fatal wound was the one in her right chest, which pierced her heart.
So the officers in this case look around the suite and they find the credit card's ID is missing. When you find a credit card missing, you assume it's for financial gain. The ID, it's hard to say why. There's many reasons. Driver's licenses can be used very quickly in the dark with an officer to get by. So stealing everything like that, someone has a different plan. They know there's something up besides just the theft of the credit card.
South Padre Island, Texas, is approximately 1,400 miles from Fort Myers, Florida, the site of Pamela Hutchinson's murder. To travel between the two locations is about a 22-hour drive.
There's so much crime in the States, even if it made the news, you're not going to pay attention to a murder occurring 5 states away. It's unlikely that Bernadette would have had any knowledge of the murder committed by this person and the fact that she had the false ID.
They settle in for a relaxing night where they can let their new friendship blossom. Bernadette is spending her night with a woman she's just met, a woman who has introduced herself as LaDonna. Little does she know, her new friend has lied about her name. Her real name is Lois Reese, and she's the lead suspect in the murder of Pamela Hutchinson. Bernadette Mathis makes a new friend while going to a restaurant alone one night in South Padre Island, Texas. When the two women hit it off, Bernadette invites this woman to her condo where they can relax in the hot tub. But this new friend has lied about her name. She introduced herself as LaDonna, but is actually Lois Reese, a woman suspected in the recent murder of Pamela Hutchinson.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened. Just walked in and there was a dead body in there. I believe she's in her late 50s.
Bernadette has been lulled into a false sense of security. Lois is just a friendly woman who's easy to talk to. Nothing for her to worry about. But that may be exactly how Pamela felt. Before meeting her end in a Fort Myers condominium, Pamela Hutchinson spends her early years in North Carolina, but moves around throughout her life. Now she's living in Virginia Beach, where she manages a car dealership. She is married for 20 years, but it ultimately ends with a divorce in 2016. Even still, Pamela is so kind and caring, her ex-husband can't help but love her. She first arrives in Fort Myers, Florida, on April 3rd, 2018, and she books a timeshare condo to stay in. While a lot of people come to the town in search of a warm and relaxing getaway, Pamela is coming for a funeral to help a friend say goodbye to her recently deceased husband. She originally plans to stay for just a few days, but on April 6th, she calls the condominium manager to extend her stay by another 3 days.
This went from a quick trip to help a friend in need to her really enjoying herself and wanting to stick around for a while.
Pamela makes a new friend during the first few days of her trip, a woman she quickly grows close to. A story with origins shockingly similar to Bernadette's, and the woman calling herself LaDonna, who is actually Lois Reese. Lois lives in Blooming Prairie with her husband, David Reese. It's a small town near the Iowa border. They own a local waxworm farm that's run by David. They raised a family together, having 3 children. Their kids are long since grown and now having families of their own, giving Lois and David 5 grandchildren.
They look like this happy family. People often say how friendly they are, but behind the friendliness, there's a darkness.
Lois allegedly has a problem with gambling. She has stolen $78,000 from her older sister by writing herself checks from her sister's account after being made her guardian. This money appears to have gone to feed her gambling. Back in Fort Myers, investigators worked through Pamela's condo, looking for anything that could give them insight into why she was murdered.
The crime scene itself is mostly contained to the bathroom. We have a pillow with a hole on it, and there's soot around the hole, which indicates that the killer probably used the pillow to muffle the sound of the gunshot. There's also a towel stuffed underneath the door, which likely was used to contain the smell so the body wouldn't be discovered too quickly.
The condo's thermostat was turned way down. There's a possibility that this was done in an attempt to stave off decomposition of the body. In this instance, however, turning down a thermostat in a condo in the southern states, where it's warm, would not make that big of a difference.
The police speak with the manager in hopes of uncovering any relevant information about the victim. The manager remembers that when Pamela extended her stay, she paid with a different credit card than she originally used when she booked the suite.
At this point, no one can say for sure, but it looks like it's at least possible that the person who extended Pamela's time at the condo wasn't her at all. It could have been her killer.
The investigators comb through security footage for the condominium, searching out anything that could tell them about Pamela's final days. They track her comings and goings from the condominium complex and notice that she is spending time with an unknown woman.
The footage shows that beginning on April 4th, Pamela's second day in town, she's entering and exiting the building with the same woman multiple times.
This woman is later discovered to be Lois Reese. Investigators also discover that Pamela's car is nowhere to be found. The investigation expands out from the condominium, and they find more footage of Pamela's time in town. They find what appears to be the moment where Pamela meets Lois, where Lois comes to sit with her in a restaurant. A pattern begins to take shape between how Lois becomes close with Pamela, and then, while using the name LaDonna, exactly what she appears to be doing with Bernadette. As the night continues, both women head out to the hot tub for an evening neither of them will forget. As the detectives continue to investigate in Fort Myers, their biggest lead is the fact that Pamela's ID is missing, and she was last seen with Lois Reese. Going off these suspicions, investigators track Lois throughout the town. Lois successfully enters a bank in Fort Myers and withdraws $5,000 from Pamela's personal account. If the murder was in fact done because of a belief that she could pose as Pamela, she proves that she can do it successfully in this moment, before she leaves town. The evening continues with more laughter and more wine. LaDonna is just a friendly woman who's easy to talk to. As Bernadette's time with Lois echoes so much of Pamela's. The question remains as how far the similarities will go. Bernadette could be a genuine new friend to Lois. Or she could be her next victim. Bernadette Mathis makes a new friend while out at a restaurant by herself in South Padre Island, Texas. The two hit it off, and Bernadette invites this woman, who goes by LaDonna, back to her home to continue their evening together. Unbeknownst to Bernadette, she's actually spending time with suspected murderer Lois Reese. Lois Reese is wanted for the murder of Pamela Hutchinson earlier that month in Fort Myers, Florida. She is believed to have killed Pamela in part to steal her identity.
The two women aren't exactly twins, but they're around the same age and have enough in common that if it was from a distance and you didn't know them, they could pass for one another.
Lois met Pamela while she was out at a restaurant eating alone, befriended her, and seemingly murdered her after a few days of gaining her trust. Days later, Pamela's body is found in the bathroom of her condo unit when the condominium manager enters the unit due to a building maintenance issue.
Everything about Lois's new friendship with Bernadette looks to be repeating the same pattern she had with Pamela. And we know how that ended.
The two women settle in for the evening, and as the conversation continues in the hot tub, Bernadette starts to think LaDonna may be a new friend for life. The police investigate further and discover that when Lois leaves Fort Myers, she takes Pamela's vehicle. It takes scouring the security footage to reveal the vehicle that Lois was driving prior to meeting Pamela. Lois is identified when the police discover that the Cadillac Lois was driving has Minnesota license plates.
It turns out, the Fort Myers police aren't the only ones looking for Lois.
When they first met, LaDonna told Bernadette that she had recently lost her husband, David, to a heart attack back in Minnesota. Although Lois has lied to Bernadette throughout the evening, losing her husband was in fact true. The details of David's death, however, were not. The Fort Myers police receive a call from the Lee County Sheriff's Department pertaining to Lois Reese. Lois is seen outside the home of a friend of hers who has recently moved from Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, to Fort Myers. When they see Lois, they immediately contact the Lee County Sheriff's Department, where she is wanted in connection to another murder.
While Lois is seen in Fort Myers, she's wanted in multiple jurisdictions. But when a friend comes forward with new information, it forces the local police agencies to contact each other in those jurisdictions to begin a wider search for Lois.
The vast expanse of the United States makes it a daunting challenge to locate someone on the run. When multiple agencies work together, resources increase, and small leads are discovered that would otherwise be missed. On March 23rd, David's business partner calls the police, saying that David hasn't been seen for over 2 weeks. After unsuccessful attempts to get a hold of David, they decide to do a wellness check. When the police go to the house to check on him, David's body is seen through the window.
David is found with a towel draped over his body. When police remove the towel, they find multiple gunshot wounds. Testing proves that David has been dead for at least 2 days.
Lois is immediately suspected when she is nowhere to be found. None of her friends and family have heard from her, and it appears she has inexplicably vanished.
Large numbers of murders are committed by persons or person known to the deceased.
Not only is Lois missing, but their white Cadillac Escalade is gone too.
You always look at the spouse initially. If they're there, if they're grieving, are they involved, did they see? So you start eliminating closer, and move farther away. In this particular case, when the spouse is nowhere to be seen, the family vehicle is missing, this now goes from person of interest to possible suspect.
The Blooming Prairie Police do their best to track where Lois may have gone. But the last time she's seen is at a gas station in Iowa near a casino. She's withdrawn $10,000 from David's business account and writes herself checks to take another $8,500 from her sister's account.
People around Blooming Prairie seem to love David, who was known for being really fun to be around. He was only 55 years old, and he was forced to leave his children and grandchildren because of his wife's actions. Not to mention all the family and friends that will never get to see Pamela Hutchinson again. Many describe her as kind and giving, but unfortunately in this case, she gave her kindness to the wrong person.
David Reese's death is believed to have taken place on March 21st. The fight that led to his death most likely had to do with a confrontation over Lois's gambling. Lois is first seen in Fort Myers, Florida, on April 2nd. It's soon after this that she first meets Pamela Hutchinson and sees a way for her to continue living on the run. She can use Pamela's ID and be harder to track down. This idea eventually leads to Pamela's murder. But Bernadette is unaware of any of this. And as their time in the hot tub continues, she has become more and more enthralled by LaDonna. She doesn't know the truth of who her new friend is. And more times than not, underestimating the severity of one's situation can have dire consequences. Bernadette Mathis is spending her evening sitting in a hot tub, unaware that she is alone with a woman suspected of killing 2 people. One is her husband in Minnesota. The other, a woman vacationing 1,500 miles away in Fort Myers Beach, Florida. Their short friendship so far seems to be running through the exact pattern of Lois Reese's last victim, Pamela Hutchinson. We know Lois Reese met Pamela Hutchinson in a restaurant, and that they spend time together over the next few days, seemingly becoming very close. The last time Pamela Hutchinson is seen on the security footage for the building, she enters her condo. The next time either of them appear in the footage, we can only see Lois stepping out of the condo by herself.
It's impossible to say exactly what's going through her head, but she looks distraught, maybe even crying as she leaves the room. After about 13 minutes, she goes back inside. 2 hours later, Lois leaves the room again, and this time, she takes a bag with her.
Pamela isn't ever seen leaving the condo.
Because the crime scene is contained to the bathroom, it's likely that Lois took Pamela by surprise. The evening probably started off fairly friendly, just two new friends enjoying each other's company.
At some point, Pamela excuses herself to go to the bathroom. Lois comes in after her, gun in hand.
The minimal impact on these crime scenes that the police find is indicative of someone who is using the false ID she's obtained. She's using familiarity. This Lois is extremely evil. She befriends these people, lures them in like a spider to her web, and then kills them.
After Pamela is shot, she shoves a towel under the door to try to conceal the impending smell. Then she starts working her way through the room for anything that could be worth taking.
Lois takes Pamela's car, which could be to distance herself from her old life and any connection to her first murder.
Before she leaves Fort Myers, she stops at a bank where she uses Pamela Hutchinson's ID to make a large withdrawal and fund her continuing run from the law. To take someone's life and assume their identity, one must have a profound detachment from empathy and morality. This disturbing transformation involves a chilling blend of narcissism, deceit, and manipulation, where the perpetrator is willing to go to great lengths to erase another person's existence while assuming their identity.
And Lois goes on to repeat this entire routine with a new woman. She's befriended Bernadette now, who has no idea who Lois really is or what she's done.
Evil often lurks in the shadows, camouflaged by a veneer of normalcy. And in Lois's case, her warmth and laughter is skillfully disarming. If Lois has chosen her to be her next victim, it may be too late. Bernadette Mathis is sitting in a hot tub with Lois Reese, who, unbeknownst to her, has murdered 2 people already.
No situation is more dangerous than when you don't suspect you're in the company of a killer.
Bernadette has been lulled into thinking Lois is a new friend. And as their time in the hot tub comes to an end, Lois's true intentions for the evening are revealed. On April 20th, 2018, 5 days after meeting Bernadette, Lois was seen at another restaurant on South Padre Island.
Lois is just calmly sitting there, not a worry in the world that she could get caught. But someone at the restaurant recognizes her and calls the police.
Before police enter the restaurant, they discover Pam Hutchinson's car in the parking lot. This confirms that Reese is in the building.
Lois is on the run for almost exactly 1 full month after murdering her husband, David Reese. She travels nearly 3,000 miles, committing a second murder during this time. And finally, in this restaurant, Lois Reese is placed under arrest. After Lois's arrest, they find the motel that she's been staying in since arriving in Texas. They find 2 guns, a 9mm and a .22 handgun, as well as plenty of bullets for them both. Judging by the caliber of the guns, they are confident they've found the murder weapons for both of Lois's murders. They also find Pamela's 4 missing credit cards.
If you catch a suspect with just the credit cards, it's possible they took them after the fact. They found the victim and they pulled their wallet and took them out for financial gain. But when you find the credit card with the ID, with the murder weapon, you now have a case that you were pretty confident you can go to court with and prove them guilty.
On top of the 2 murder charges, Lois is to be charged for withdrawing $5,000 from Pamela's accounts.
There's too much evidence against Lois, and she knows it. When she is arrested, she has no choice but to try and make some kind of deal.
Lois ultimately does make a deal. In December 2019, Lois is finally brought to trial in Florida for the charges surrounding the murder of Pamela Hutchinson. In August of 2020, she is put on trial in Minnesota for charges surrounding the murder of David Reese. In order to avoid the death penalty, Lois pleads guilty in both cases. Because of Lois's actions, her grandchildren lose both of their grandparents. She has taken away their grandfather in a way that puts herself, their grandmother, behind bars for life. David Reese will be missed by not only them, but all the other lives he touched in their small town of Blooming Prairie. Pamela Hutchinson may not be leaving behind children, but that doesn't mean she'll be missed any less. She was a lovely, warm person who uplifted all those around her. She was very close to many members of her family, and even her ex-husband still loves her. Both are taken from the world too soon, seemingly all because Lois couldn't get her gambling under control.
The day Lois is arrested, she's found alone at a restaurant, but later reports tell us that she was waiting for somebody.
Bernadette was meant to meet Lois that day. She arrives after the arrest And soon, one of the waiters explains to her what has happened. In this moment, Bernadette learns that the woman she had become close with in the past week has been arrested for committing 2 murders. Bernadette survives her encounter with Lois Reese. The two leave the hot tub, and Lois even spends the night in Bernadette's guest room. When Bernadette is questioned after learning about who Lois is, she is quoted saying she dodged a bullet. We may never know what could have happened to Bernadette if Lois went even another day before her arrest.